Hi everyone, this is John Carroll from John Carroll Coaching. I hope that you're already all here and you're waiting for this webinar. I'm super excited because we didn't have a webinar in a long time, so shout out to all of you. I'm super happy that you're here. And today we'll be speaking about habits of happy people or habits of successful people. So I hope that you prepared some questions and you are ready. Just give me a second and I will share this video to a broader amount of viewers. Okay. I think we should already have everything shared. So guys, it doesn't matter whether we are driving a Lamborghini or our old Chevrolet, whether we are young or old, beautiful or ugly. In all of these scenarios, we can be equally miserable. You know, all of these luxuries are actually commodities that, depending on how we use and how we think, they can make us happy or they can even make us more sad. So imagine that it's like a field of activity. This body that we all have, this mind that we all have, we are the owner of the body and the mind. And all the things that we have around us, all the luxuries, our house, all of our relationships, our work, our school, all of those is our field of activity. So we, as an observer of this field of activity, it all depends on how we process all the things that we got, that we may be either happy or sad. I hope that you get this concept. So the easiest thing to tell it is that there's a lot of people who are very rich, they are very successful in life, and they are well known, they are famous. Like for instance, Robin Williams, he was well-known actor all around the world. Can you tell me, was he famous? Yeah, of course he was famous. Did everyone know him? And did many people tell him he's wonderful and amazing? Of course. He had a loving family, he had loving kids, and they had good relationship. And he had a fulfilling career. The Time magazine told him he was one of the best actors of the world. You know, he was on the cover of Time magazine. So, you know, you could say he was quite successful. And even though he still committed suicide. So, you know, it's not like he did something wrong, but I personally believe that we are not taught how can we be happy and how can we use those fields of activities that we have for our own goal. Because we are not only material beings, but we are also spiritual beings. And as spiritual beings, we have to also understand how to make happy our spiritual self and our higher needs. So, you know, if you're ugly, or if people say your face is ugly, it's all in the eyes of the beholder. What you can do, for instance, you can learn how to be a more attractive person. You don't have to always be sad and think, oh, I am so ugly, I cannot do anything in my life. This is a victim mentality. And a person who has these habits of happiness is a person that actually sees it as a challenge and wants to change. If you're fat, what you can do, you can say, I'm fat, everyone is making fun of me. When I was a kid, there was a moment when I was fat. And you know, other kids were making fun of me, but I never found it as something bad. I actually also made fun of fat kid. I was a fat kid, I made fun of other fat kids, and I understood that, like, okay, you know, some people just don't appreciate how my body looks. And later, you know, I changed it. I felt more comfortable in a different body, and I changed it. I started to exercise. So, but what I could also do, and what I did back then, was also accept the body that I had. And I never felt, you know, bad about the body that I had. So what I'm trying to say, the most important thing is that it's all our habits and all how we perceive the things. There was a story about Abraham Lincoln. One time he met a man who was watching a beautiful garden full of roses. And there was also another man standing, he met there, and he asked both of these people, what do you see? So one person said, I see a garden full of beautiful roses. And the other said, I see a garden full of thorny bushes. So it was all a matter of perspective. One saw a garden full of red, beautiful roses, and the other one found some thorny bushes that didn't allow him to go from one side to another. So what is also very important to see is that happiness is not a choice. Happiness is not a decision. Happiness is not a place where we are. Happiness is a constant endeavor where we strive to become a better version of ourselves, where we take an action every day, every minute, every second to perform actions in such a way that it will cause to us less misery. This is very important. So it's not a decision, it's not a choice, it's our actions. And those actions later, they create these habits, these small habits that give us this powerful mindset of being a proper observer of our field of activity, which is the body and the mind. And we, as a consciousness, we can then properly guide our life and make other people happy and make ourselves happy. So stop comparing yourself to other people and stop thinking about other people, how successful they are. For instance, there's a lot of people who became rich millionaires after the age of 50, after the age of 60. There are a lot of people who became millionaires when they were in the age of 20. So the people who became millionaires when they were 20 and those when they were 60 are better? Who's better? The one who were older or the one who were younger? It all depends, Like, have you ever heard about the missing Bermuda Triangle? So when we are kids, we have, imagine this triangle. So when we are kids, we have health, we have a lot of time, but we don't have money. So we cannot do all the things we would like to do. So kids always ask the parents for some money. But by themselves, when you're like 7 or 11, it's not so easy to get money, even if you sell lemonade. Later, when we become adults, look again at the triangle, we have health, we have money, but we don't have time because we're busy, we have a lot of responsibilities, we have our families. It's not so easy to take time for, we don't have time to do the things that we would like to do, our hobbies or the holidays we would like to go. And later, when we are old, we have time, we have money, but we don't have health to do the things we would like to do. Our knees are already more painful, we are tired, we just want to relax. So this is the Bermuda Triangle of life. So, maybe becoming a millionaire when you're 60, sometimes for some people can be better than when you're 20. I know a lot of people who have much more healthy, functional lives when they're in their 50s and 40s rather than when they're in their 20s and 30s, where they just party all the time and look for a sense enjoyment rather than taking properly care of their bodies. So, it's all a matter of perspective and how well we function in this mechanism of this body, of this vehicle, of this car that we have, which is this brain and this material body. So, 1 second, I'm going to see if anyone has any questions right now. Remember to give us some likes, subscribe us, share this video, help me reach more people and help more people to become happier, more prominent version of their own selves. Okay. I see that there are no questions for now. So, my friends, let's continue with the habits of happy people. And imagine that you're a star in your own movie. It's your own life, you're the main star, everything goes around you. And this is our life actually. We are the main star of our own movie. And because being a main star of our own movie, it's a concept I'm taking from a very nice life coach called Peter Sage, if you want to check out his webpage. Then being a star of our own movie, we actually shouldn't be so much focused about what the other side characters are saying to us or doing to us. Imagine that you meet someone on the street, something bad happens, and then you're thinking about this all day. Oh, I could have behaved in a better way. Why did I behave like this? Well, for this person, for this moment, you're just a side character of his movie. You just appear, there's one scene, maybe not so good scene, it happened. But will this guy, or will you remember the situation, the negative situation that happened today, tomorrow, perhaps, or maybe not, in 3 days? Already will be very, very vacant in your mind. What about 10 days? You'll remember this negative situation in 10 days? And what about 1 month? Will you even remember that this negative situation happened in your life? So being a star of our own movie, we have to understand that there's a lot of side characters that will appear, and we don't have to think all the time in our head about the situation that happened in the past. This is very, very negative and can bring us down. The same is also, we should be a little bit more humble and understand that we are not the main star in all of the movies. We are side characters for other people in their own movies. We may appear in their movie, but we shouldn't try to take their role of the main actor. So in the same way, we should fully focus on ourselves. Even if we have a family, of course we have a responsibility for our kids, parents, and etc. But it is our own responsibility to be happy, not theirs. They will not make us happy. This is a very big mistake that a lot of people who have families or go into relationships, they believe that the person is supposed to make them happy. This is not their job. Your job is to make yourself happy. You're the main star in your own movie. You decided, not them. They can have a supportive role in this, depending how you behave. But in the end, it's your role to be happy. So acceptance of our own self. We are the stars in our own movie, and we are what we are with our own small, perfect imperfections. Everyone is striving for being a perfect being, but perfect is something that doesn't exist. It's a very vague term. We are striving, shooting for the stars, per aspera et astra. We have to understand that perfect is something that other people imagine. The perfect shape, the perfect job, the perfect opportunities. It all depends on us, how we see our life. And believe me, usually the most happy people are those who are not striving for perfection, but who are striving for being happy in the moment they are right now, and for being a best version of their own selves in a particular time, space. And it's like we always strive to be the best version of our own selves, but perfection is not something we are striving for, because perfection is something that doesn't exist. And perfection is also something boring. Think about it. Let's take again the story about the movie. Would you ever go to a cinema and watch a boring movie? Let's say, would you watch I love this movie, but let's change a little bit the scenario of this movie. Let's say Indiana Jones. Indiana Jones is a movie full of trouble, full of problems, full of actions. Now let's take it all away because we are also looking for this. Like, we want to stay in our comfort zone. We don't want all these troubles, all these problems, all these people bothering us. And now we will watch a 2-hour long movie of Indiana Jones being a professor in the university and teaching his students about archaeology. Would you want to watch this movie for 2 hours? Perhaps for 15 minutes, but longer than that, I don't think so. So why do we like movies? We like movies because they're full of drama, they're full of emotions, they're full of everything that life comes. Life is variety, and variety is the spice of life. It's everything is there. There is action, there's happiness, there's drama, there's sadness, there are ups and downs. And this makes a movie interesting. So the same we should expect from our lives. Why do we expect a life? I heard, there was one joke that an Englishman is a person who tries to go through his life in such a way that no one will even notice his life, and in the end he will just slowly go inside his grave and sleep. So it's not like this. We don't want to have a static life, but at the same time, we are striving for this life. We are striving for life where there is no changes, where everything is constant, where everything is under our control and everything is very easy. So we believe that happiness means everything comes to me, and everything comes to me when I want and how I want. And that's not happiness. That's being an omnipotent controller or God, which we are not. So if we are striving for happiness and we enjoy watching all these movies, we should also understand that in our life, sudden ups and downs, these all difficulties and these struggles are something that makes the spices of our life. Imagine a situation where someone asks you about a funny story to share during a party. Which story you will share? Maybe you will share the story when you got drunk and make a mistake, or said something that you should not say to another person, or you said your boss something that you didn't want to say, and in the end he didn't accept it. So you will share an interesting story. You'll never share a story that, everything in my life is just going everything as I wanted, and I just become very rich and I work only 4 hours a week. Maybe that will be an interesting story, but not so much interesting of a story of someone who had a struggle and from the struggle he learned something, or a funny struggle. This is the stories that we like to share with other people, not only stories of us sitting on the couch and enjoying our happy life and being just eating, sleeping, mating, and defending. That's animal life. And humans are not striving for animal life. We are not striving for animal life because we as humans were designed to look for some goals in our life, to have some action plans, to strive for something. We are building cities. We are changing the world. And this is what humans are supposed to do. Of course, I'm not saying they are supposed to pollute the world and destroy the world. We should cooperate with it. But that's not the level of consciousness we are on yet. But what we are doing as architects, engineers, politicians, people, we are changing the world. And we are building the world in a creative way. And this is good. This is one of the parts of being a human. If you don't want this, you can always come back into being an animal if you believe in reincarnation, and live a very simple life of eating grass, hunting other animals, or just living and sleeping all day, or for 6 months like a bear. So I don't believe that this is what you are looking for, and I also don't believe that this is what you came for this seminar, to tell me to you that, oh, it's good, that your life is so peaceful and that there are no ups and downs. These ups and downs are something that we should be happy of, something that we strive, something that we enjoy. Okay, let us see. A small break. Interestingly, I take a break every 8 minutes and it's completely unconscious. I'm not even conscious of that. So another thing that comes with, if we understand that we don't want a simple life, we want a life that that makes us breathe, that makes us alive. So let us ask this question: what do we want from life? Do you really understand what do you want from life? What you are looking in life? What are you searching? Do you know your goals, your inner deep plans? There's a very interesting story from a book that I absolutely love, which is called Nonviolent Communication, and I recommend you this book. Just write Nonviolent Communication. There is a story when the author of the book, he was working as a psychiatrist, clinical psychiatrist, and he had a conversation with his client. So I would like you to read to you this conversation because I believe it's very nice, and if I will say it in my own words, maybe I will miss some of interesting things from the story. So, psychiatrist, what are you wanting that you are not receiving? He asked the patient. I don't know what I want. Psychiatrist, I guessed that you would say that. Client or patient, why? Psychiatrist, my theory is that we get depressed because we are not getting what we want. And we are not getting what we want because we have never been taught to get what we want. Instead, we have been taught to be good little boys and girls and good mothers and fathers. If we are going to be one of those good things, better get used to being depressed. Depression is the word for us for being just good. But if you want to feel better, I would like you to clarify what would you like to people to do to make life more wonderful for you. Patient. I just want someone to love me. That's hardly unreasonable, is it? Psychiatrist. It's a good start. Now I would like to clarify what you would like people to do that would fulfill your need to be loved. For example, what could I do for you right now? Client. Oh, you know. Psychiatrist. I'm not sure I do. I would like you to tell me specifically what would you like to do me, what would you like me to do for you or other people to do, give you the love you are looking for. Client. That is hard. Psychiatrist. Yes, it can be difficult to make clear requests, but think how hard it will be for others to respond to our request if we are not even clear what is it. Client. I'm starting to get clear what I want from others to fulfill my need for love, but it's embarrassing. Psychiatrist. Yes, very often it may be embarrassing. So what would you like for me or others to do for you? Psychiatrist. Client. If I really reflect upon what I'm requesting when I ask to be loved, is I suppose I want you to guess what I want before I'm even aware of it, and then I want you to always to do it. So, from this we can understand that most of us, we don't actually know what are our desires. If we say to someone, oh, you're so needy, you always ask so many questions, it's so annoying. What does it actually mean? You're always so loud, or you always interrupt me. Are those our needs or are those observations? The point is, we don't actually often understand what we need when we are speaking to other people. For instance, when I said to you that to someone that you are too needy, what does it mean? Well, it means that my desire to be understood, my desire to be understood by another person is not fulfilled. And me as a person, I could ask you, for instance, is there something from me that I could give to you to understand you better as a person and to fulfill any of your requests? So in such a way, we can change this talk and of negativity and talk of telling other people what we don't like in them into actually giving them an opportunity to respond what is nice in them and how we could correspond to what is alive in them. But also, for this to actually happen, people have to really understand what is their real need. Like this person, this patient, he said, my need is for love. But what do you mean by that? What do you mean by love? Do you want people to glorify you? Do you want people to hold your hands? You have to be a little bit more specific. So for you and for me and for all of us, what would be very best in this world is if we would actually understand what we want from other people to do specifically. And also before that, we have to understand what do we need from other people. We need to be loved. We need to be understood by other people. We need to empathically connect with other people. We need to have a connection with other people. But those are very vague and constant words. We can write them down on a piece of paper and write exactly, as a person, as a good habit, what do you mean by connecting with people? I mean that it would be nice if during lunch or dinner, rather than watching a movie, we could speak and talk about how was your day today, or what 3 things you liked or 3 things you didn't like, some conversation starters. Or by connecting, we could have some time, for instance, and to share how do you feel right now. This is very interesting because most of us, we have a very little or not so vast dictionary of emotions, and we often forget to express emotions in our life. So also it is very nice, it's also described in this book, Nonviolent Communication, when you describe your needs, it's also nice to describe the emotion that is behind the need. So for instance, I feel quite sad and insecure that during our lunch we don't communicate, and because of that I believe that our marriage is not as good as it was before. Do you think it's possible that during this lunch we could turn off the TV and speak for some time? So that's a quite specific need, which was also before you gave your emotion. Quite insecure, quite sad with the situation. Why? Well, because my need for communication with you is not being fulfilled. Maybe we could turn off the TV. So by this, if we start to communicate with other people, we rather share with them what is alive in us. And because sharing what is alive with us, it's not a demand, it's actually an opportunity for another person to enliven us and to give us this amazing gift of life. And join our movie. So, my friends, let us see also what I have on my amazing list of habits of successful people. One of the regrets of people that die, not die, but people that are dying on the deathbed, is that on the top, there's top 5 regrets that people have before that, when they are dying, what they didn't do in their life. And one of these top 5 regrets is that they were not able to emotionally connect with other people and express their feelings, emotion, and needs to other people. So it's something which we are lacking, and which is taking away from us happiness. To be really deeply able to understand our emotions of other people, and to be able to communicate them in such a way that they will be accepted. We are taught, or we are taught not to express emotions. For instance, there was a story about a boy who was hiding in the classroom because other boys wanted to beat him after school. And about a few hours have passed, and one of the teachers have found him in the classroom, and he's asking, "What are you doing here? The school is closed." And the boy said, "Well, I'm afraid because there are other kids and they want to beat me outside." And the teacher, he looked at the boy, and she said, "Boys are not afraid." So, it's one of those things that we are being taught, boys are not afraid, boys don't cry. There's actually a campaign right now about allowing men and boy to cry, to being able to show their emotions. So there is a big misunderstanding about being strong and showing your emotions. Just because someone shows their emotions and how they emotionally feel doesn't mean that they become instantly a crybaby. So another thing that successful or happy people do in their life is that they exactly understand what is most important in their life. Is it your career? Is it the money? Is it family? Is it health? Usually, for most of the people, is time. Properly investing their times in things that later will give them a proper as an investment that they properly invested, later they will get a lot back in return. And usually the things that give us the most return are our own hobbies and interests. Even if you are bad at this hobby, even if it doesn't give money, what it gives you again this excuse me, it gives you this life, this opportunity to do something creative and to imbibe all of those things that are inside your body, inside your mind, to go into something that makes you alive, makes you passionate, whether it's music, whether it's writing, drawing, whether it's sports, handcraft, teaching other people. It can be anything. And this is something that happy people, they invest their time, whether it's 5 minutes, 10, 15, 1 hour of their day. Don't be caught up so much in all of our responsibilities of work, family, and other obligations to forget about all our own time to pursue our own interests and hobbies. And maybe many mothers with young kids will tell me, wishful thinking, it's impossible. But the truth is, for a lot of people, it is possible, even though they have kids. It's a matter of perception, matter of perspective, and being able to adjust your time and adding this. Because if we have a strong desire for something, nothing will stop us. Nothing will stop us. And I remember one fitness trader, she had a very nice motto, and that motto was that whether you have energy to train or not, just join us. Once you start training with us, you will get the energy to come back. It works like this. No one is motivated in the beginning to do something so much. But once we start doing it, it is possible that we get this passion and this motivation, this creative energy. Like I said, we as human beings, we are beings of action. And only action gives us empowerment. And usually this action gives us empowerment if we do something for other people. It's one of these habits of happy people is to being a humanitarian, is to share your time, your knowledge, share your expertise, your money, whatever, in volunteering, in humanitarian work and helping other people. It can be small, it doesn't have to be anything big. But there's a lot of studies that show that people who regularly help as volunteers, their life is much more happy and they feel much more satisfied and positive in life. Just look at all these very, very rich people. Most of them in the end, they always do something for humanitarian. They always share their money with other people. Not because it's good for the media and for your public for your public relationship, etc. It's because it gives us something inside our heart. Remember the last time you did something good for someone? How did you feel? Rarely, very rarely, like if someone is really, really bad and didn't appreciate our help, maybe it's very, very rarely, 1 out of 100 times we are not happy that we helped someone. And we don't help people out of guilt, fear, anger. This will not give us the life that I'm talking about. We do it from our own motivation, and we do it usually because we don't want anything in return. This is real humanitarian help. If we're doing something because of responsibility, fear, anger, guilt, that will, in the end, that will not make us happy. So it has to be genuine. It has to be genuine. And yeah, one small thing I also wanted to add that, for instance, Van Gogh, for most of his life, he was poor. He was so poor. Some say that he had to eat coal for breakfast. I think it's not true, but I read a biography about Van Gogh, and he was really poor, and he was really working on coal, and he was painting, but he was really, really poor, and no one wanted to buy his paintings for a long time. So he's one of the biggest genius and most famous painters, artists in the world, but he was not recognized for such a long time in his life. So don't worry, and he didn't do it for recognition. He just wanted to live normally. But just be patient. Okay, checking what's happening here. Do you have any questions, Marina? Any questions? Okay, so like I said before, humans are a social being. We love to be connected with other people, and we love to share. Happiness means that you have something that you can share with other people. Imagine having a rich, big house, a big swimming pool, and all day you just spend there alone. Okay, for the first week maybe it's fun, but later, if you're supposed to spend there 1 year alone, I don't think you'll be so happy. Because if you remember, the most happy usually when you were eating a meal is when you were sharing a meal with someone, especially with your loved ones, with your family, with your friends, having a nice chat. It's because of sharing these moments with other people, we get even more. So remember about these connections with other people, and don't be afraid to be vulnerable, let your guard down, share something emotionally with other people, connect with them on a valuable platform. A lot of people, they have a lot of conversations which are very shallow, and they're so shallow that they later start to think that having connections with other people is boring, and they just go and start to play video games, do other things which make them more isolated from people. So, playing video games is not bad, but obsessively playing video games and not connecting with other people may be. So the idea is to make meaningful connections with other people since we still have time. And what is important, these connections, they have to be with a lot of people, but they should be meaningful. They should be emotionally, and they should be connecting us on a deeper level with other people. They should not be, this should not be something that is very, very, like I said, shallow. So it doesn't have to be a lot of people, but we should invest in the quality. And to do that, we have to also understand what kind of questions we should ask to other people, what should we talk about, So we should not only have our friends which are based on or are of having the same interests that we have in our life. It usually happens when we are teenagers that, oh, you go to this party, so you're my friend. You do the same thing like me. Okay, that's cool. We can talk about this. But these friendships, after some time, after a few years, they disappear and never come back again. The only friendships that last are the friendships where you emotionally connect with someone and you share very deep information. You help these people guide through their life, to help them in their struggles, and in return they do the same for you. Such relationships, they last for forever, and you can always count down on such people. Talking about thinking, so the problem that a lot of people who are not so happy in their life is that they think too much. They think too much about the past, they think too much about the future, and they are not able to focus on the present. We think about all the mistakes we did. We think about the time when we were in primary school, when we were in middle school, when we were in high school, when we were in the university. The brain sometimes attacks you with this memory. You're cutting vegetables, and then comes this moment like, hey, do you remember that party when when you forget you're not wearing your underwear, and then you wanted to do something funny, but your pants, they destroyed and everyone could see you're naked? Things like this. Well, it didn't happen for me, but I'm just giving an example. So fortunately, so yeah, it's like a lot of these things will go. Or you remember that time when you speak to this person, it was very rude. How do you think how she's thinking right now about you? Or for instance, someone comes, and you're thinking, why is this guy so loud? He annoys me so much. Why is he so loud? But the problem is that we should not criticize so much people, because all people around us, they are looking for the same. They are looking to be happy, and they want to make also other people happy. But sometimes the means which they take to help other people to be happy, or their own self to be happy, is not good. I will give an example. For instance, a thief wants to be happy, but he thinks that by stealing from other people, he will get the money that he needs to buy the things that he needs. So in such a way, he wants to be happy, so that's not bad. But the way how he does it is something that causes negativity for other people. And in the same way, there are a lot of people around us that, they want to be happy, but rather than making friends with us, they make enemies, or they behave in a way that we dislike it. But we have to understand why they're doing what they're doing. What is their idea behind it? sometimes also people have a bad day, they're tired, they're programmed to work how they work, you know, they are just something that they don't understand. If we are close to them, we can always help them, you know, or we have some relationship, we can guide them in saying that the way they behave doesn't, for instance, doesn't satisfy our security. We feel not secure with this person, or at this moment we feel angry, and we have a need for this person to change such and such behavior. And do you think, is it possible, or could you explain me why are you behaving in such a way? So those are, you know, grown-up conversations that we should also have with our friends and with our coworkers. In such a way, we may add something to their life and show them something that maybe they are not aware of. For them, maybe it's normal, maybe it's the way that they always spoke in their family, their mother always spoke like this, their father always had spoken like this. So this is their program, and we can help them to unprogram it and show them, but we have to also have the proper skills how to do it. So there is a, like I said, there is a procedure which one shows his emotions, he shows his vulnerability, and then he shows a specific action that another person could take to satisfy your need. In such a way, we can help other people and help ourselves to more happy and satisfying life. You know, talking about other people in general, gossiping, never leads us anywhere. And constantly thinking about other people and how they behave is also just a waste of time and something that drains our energy. But the epitome, the worst of the worst, in my opinion, is television. Television is just, you know, speaking not about only people, it's speaking about countries, about group of people, and it's full of useless information. It's full of information that is supposed to just make us think about nothing and unfocused. Have you ever noticed that our head is full of information that we don't need? For instance, if you ever watch National Geographic, you know so much about zebras, about lions, about oysters, about cuckoo birds. But if you're not working with animals, and if you don't have a zebra in your garden, or if you're not a vet, it's not an information that you need in your life to be happy. It's actually just useless information for us. Or for instance, how far away is from moon to earth, or how big is the moon? Sorry, if you're not working as rocket science, if you're not an astronomer, or you're not going to fly to the moon, it's a waste of time. And this takes us to one of the most powerful habits of life, is to focus, is to specialize. There's a very nice passage from my book, which is called Bhagavad Gita, which I will call the jewel of the east of knowledge. And there is a conversation between two friends, and one of the friends speaks to another one. Those who are on this path are resolute in their purpose, and their aim is one. O beloved child of the Kurus, the intelligence of those who are irresolute is many-branched. So our intelligence is something that likes to be focused on one thing. People who usually are successful in some field, they specialize. Even if you become a lawyer, you don't become a lawyer of all the law. You, for instance, specialize in a particular set of law which is connected with, let's say, health and safety, acquiring a land, you know, specializing. If I become a life coach, I don't specialize in everything. So the same as we have our own things we have to focus on. And if we all the time try to think about everything and about other people's life, how they behave, what they do, what this guy does in that country, why does the Russians do this, and what about Putin, and what about the people in Asia, in China, they are doing this and that, and you know, it's all not allowing our mind to be focused, but it makes it all haywire. And of course, there are other much more better ways to relax our mind and to detoxify all the stress. For instance, exercises, you know, like running. I love to run, and whenever I run, I feel like it's like meditation. My mind is just clearing away all the negativity, all the bad thoughts. Sometimes when I'm tired, I become less tired just because of running. So it's a much, much more better way. Going to the sauna, taking a hot bath, relaxing your body, taking a massage. Even I would even, rather than watching TV, I would recommend watching a movie on Netflix, because at least you will not be thinking about if negativity around it and trying to control situations which are outside of our field of activity. Remember, I told you there's a field of our activity. So if you're a politician and your job is to understand the political situation of your country and the neighboring countries to secure the safetyness of the citizens, then you should watch TV. That's for sure. But if you're a simple Jack or Joe, you don't have to watch TV, and you can have a much more happy and satisfied life. And you also have much more less meaningless discussions during any family reunions. So it's something that it's your personal choice, but it's always better to focus on the positive than negative. The same is with the people. The habits of happy people is that they try to surround themselves with happy, positive people. People who see the garden full of roses, like I told you before, and not the garden full of thorny bushes. Another thing that we can also help to being more happy person is to learn how to control our anger, lust, and greed. So anger usually comes from two things. The first thing is not taking responsibility for our own emotions, thinking that just because someone did what they did, it's their fault, and because of them we are now angry. And it's not like this. Just because someone did something that annoys you doesn't mean that it's the problem of that person. So you have to take responsibility and control your own emotions and ask yourself a question: why does it make me angry? What kind of need is not being satisfied by this person? And we may of course address it, but in a normal, positive way, like I gave you before the examples. So we should take responsibility. And the second part is, if someone does something that is, completely ridiculous and really, really negative, we should ask ourselves again the question: why is this person doing it? Probably because of his understanding of happiness at this moment was not proper. People don't make mistakes. People just make actions that, in the view of other people, are not accepted. From this point of view, there are no mistakes. There are only actions that other people don't accept. If you think about this, it's like this. There can be always a situation where you will find 10 people say that was very bad, and you will find 2 people say, I think that was okay, it was normal, it was not so bad. I think this person was rude. No, I think this person was just saying what they think, and they should be allowed to say what they think. So it's very, very subjective. So we have to understand that the way how other people behave is just because they're programmed like this. But their basic need are the same. They have the same needs that we have. So they have the need for being secure. They have the need for being happy. They have the need for feeling joy in their life. They have the need to connect with other people. They have the need to be loved and to give love. They have the need to feel safe. There's so many other needs, but we all as human beings, we have the same needs. They don't change. So you have to just understand that this other person is trying to fulfill their need, but which one? And the way it approaches makes us irritated or angry. If it goes for lust and greed, those things I told you before, you can have a house, you can have a bigger house, and you can have a bigger house, you can have a swimming pool with a deeper pool and even a deeper pool. But in the end, what makes us happy is being satisfied with the quota that we get from life. And the quota that we get from life is different from everyone. But by practicing the vitamin G, which is the vitamin of gratitude, we can be happy with what we already have in life. And this is something that is in our control. Usually lust and greed comes because we want more control. We want to control more the world. We want to control more other people. And we want more, and more, and things go around us. Of course, we are the superstar of our own movie, but we have to understand that during that time in the Hollywood of the world, everyone is making their own movies. And we should also be, understand where does their need come, and that we are also part of the same place and we can share other things. So if we tackle this problem with trying to be too much obsessive over control and understand that we actually exist in a perfect environment that is beyond our understanding and which is perfectly controlled, if you look at the 4 seasons, if you look at the movement of the clouds, how the rain comes, you can see it's a perfect system. And of course, some of us try to abuse this system, but the planet that we are living right now is fully able to sustain the lives of all the living beings that are right now. And even if you multiply the living beings by 100 times, it will still be able to sustain the life of all of us. Believe me or not, but that's how it is. So we should curb this idea that we can control everything and just to try to work on our own small field of activities. And like I said before with the TV, not to think about things that are beyond our needs. What's happening right now in China? I don't know. And to be honest, don't want to offend anyone, I don't care, because it's China and I'm right now in a different country. If a client writes to me from China, I don't care he lives in China. I care about the person that I'm speaking about, not about China and what is the politics of China. So it's very, very dangerous. So I say so too many times. Okay, guys, checking my list. I'm checking also how are all of you. I see we have some more viewers, so it means some people joined us and are listening. It's not a monologue anymore. Okay, if you guys have any questions, if you liked something or you didn't like something, you disagree, please write in the comment sections. I will gladly answer it now or later if you will be watching this video as a replay. Another habit of happy people that we should look about is to understand that all the people that cause us problems and trouble, they're actually opportunities. Because if some situation makes us angry and irritated, it means there's something inside us, some sadness, some resentment, some issue. Let's call this issue black, something black and sticky inside of you. Imagine this mucus, black mucus inside of you. And someone comes with some activity and they start to press some buttons on you, subtly press these buttons, and this mucus inside you it starts to move, and it moves here to your head, and you start to think these dark black thoughts. So this person is giving you an opportunity to see this darkness inside of you, this mucus, and to clean it, and take it away. Because no one can make a happy, really fully satisfied person unhappy. Like these people, we call them saints. We call them self-realized persons. And there are people like this. They existed in the past, Saint Francis, Saint Augustine, and now we have people who appear, different gurus. They are self-realized people, and you can press as many buttons you want on them, and they will react in such a way that you'll be like, whoa, you'll be surprised, you'll be grateful. They can even show anger, but this anger will be like a blessing for you. So that is amazing. They are like beyond this. They don't have this black mucus inside us. They can use anger, they can lose emotions, but in such a way that they will make us more happy and more understandable of who we actually are. So in such a way, we should see all of the situation when something might make us irritated and angry as a happy person, as an opportunity to grow. not as a person who's annoying us right now and is destroying my meditation and my peacefulness. No, it's an opportunity for us to think like, why I'm getting angry? What kind of desire or need I'm not getting right now? What is this person doing that I feel like this? Because it's not this person, it's us who is feeling this. Again, we have to be responsible for our own actions and reactions. And yeah, guys, like, it's so one of the last habits I want to share with you is that you don't always have to be so defensive. I remember when my mother told me one time that, just relax, it was a joke. Why you cannot take a joke? Why are you so serious? And I was a teenager back then, and I really thought about this. Why I was so serious? Why I didn't understand she's just joking, or she's just saying in a playful way? Why I was so serious? And I was just insecure. I was insecure. I was afraid. I didn't accept what other people were saying, what she was saying, and I thought she's attacking me. But it all just came from my own bad understanding of the situation. And how many times we as adults, we didn't grow up internally, and the inner child inside of us is screaming like, well, this person is doing like this and this, I don't like him. It's it's very childish. It's something we should fix, and we should not be so serious. Life is a wonderful experience, but sometimes we just have to stop, take a deep breath, and do something small. Enjoy enjoy the moment, enjoy the taste, enjoy the smell, enjoy the feeling. Enjoy. How often do you enjoy the taste of simple water? If you're very, very, very thirsty, you enjoy the taste of simple water and you just drink it, and you understand that water has taste and you like this taste. There are a lot of people who they had very, very hard life, or they had circumstances that made their life hard. They were in jail, or they survived concentration camps, and after coming from these situations, they usually say they enjoy the little things and they are happy and grateful for what they have. I had a friend who spent 8 months in prison, and sometimes for a week he was only allowed to leave his cell for about 1 hour a day to get his meals. So it means for 23 hours he had to spend in a cell which was 2 meters on 4 meters, 8 square meters. Can you imagine that? And sometimes he'd spend the cell with another person, not alone. So in such a way, you start to respect your privacy, you start to respect the space you have. And we have a lot of situations like this. For sure, we had situations where you couldn't eat, you couldn't drink, you had to travel long distance. One time I had to travel about 40 hours in a bus. Whoa, that was like you cannot take a shower. The loud music in the bus, people were smoking cigarettes, crazy bus drive. And you really, really respect this last drive when you had in the nice bus where you had to drive for only 16 hours, but you had the coffee, you had access to internet, you could stretch your legs. So small things, but yet they make life so much, much better. So enjoy the small things. That's what makes happy, it's a habit of a happy person. And I remember one time, people have a saying in Poland that when it's raining, the people are not made from sugar. So don't be afraid of rain. When was the last time that you went and get soaking wet in a hot weather on the rain? People usually they try to run away from rain, but try to go one time outside and just be completely soaked in the rain when it's a little bit hot, not to get cold. It's an amazing feeling. I did it many times as a kid. I made it many times later as a teenager and as an adult, and I know a lot of people don't do it and they're afraid of it, but I don't know why. But it's something crazy, something small. And with this, I would tell you to, one of these habits is to change your old habits, you know. Ask yourself, why am I constraining myself in so many places? Like Peter Pan would say, when did you become such an adult? You know, we forget to fly. We forget to fly, but you know, the flying things doesn't have to be so big. It can be just small things like going on and getting wet on the rain. So guys, I'm checking if there. Oh, thank you also, Leonid. Thank you very much. Uh, so guys, if you have any questions, please ask them. I will be more than grateful to answer them for you. How to make other people more lucky regularly? By lucky, do you mean more happy? I would stick what that you mean by lucky, getting more happy. So I would say making people more happy regularly is when you yourself you're more happy and you express yourself the way you want to express. You don't put all these strange masks on yourself and pretend that you're someone that you are not. There's a very interesting study that shows that people who pretend to smile are more susceptible to getting depressed and being sad just because they are pretending that they are happy or that in a particular situation they should smile. So if you don't want to smile, you can show to other people that you are not happy. It's normal. Some people they try to cover it and show that they're always happy in every situation and that they can never be sad. But happy and sad are just two emotions. And between them, or let's say good and bad, there is a spectrum of many other emotions that we can feel. We can feel fulfilled, we can feel anxious, we can feel nervous, we can feel excited, we can feel neutral, we can feel bored, we can feel interested, we can feel amused. There's so many other emotions that we can feel inside. If we understand how our own clock ticks, then other people will be more happy with us. It's like it like spreads, you know. We like to be in among other happy people. You know, happiness is contagious. Other people start to laugh, they start to make jokes and make all these interesting things, and we are attracted to them because this is what we are looking for and what we are looking in life, to be more happy. So if we, for instance, met a person, we can say to our head that it can be a small conversation that I would like this person to leave this conversation more energetically up than down. You know, by energetically, I just mean, you know, make this person more happy than not happy. It's a thing, and I know many people who do it, that they want to leave every conversation with a nice handshake, with a good smile, with saying something nice to the person. I like your glasses. I like how you talk. You know, finding the small things like, oh, do you have a nice haircut? Even by changing your voice to being more high and being more optimistic, more open, more loud, more warm, will make a person interested. You know, if you come and say like, hey, how are you? What's up? Nice to see you. Yeah, I like your glasses, you know, they're so nice. And I like how you talk. That's a little bit different. So we can with these small things we can make a person more interested. And speaking about interest, another thing you can do is be genuine interested in another person. Not just saying like, you know, in English people say, how are you? How are you? Oh, good, I am good. And you, how are you? It's like, it's not so interesting. Like, hey, you know, you can ask, how was your day? You know, did you do something interesting today? Did you saw something interesting? Did something happen during your walk here? Or if you said, I see a person said like, hey, what happened? Is there something bothering you? May I help you in some way? Or maybe you would like to share what happened that would make you more peaceful. So being genuinely interested in people and asking nice questions, I would say that that's also nice. So being yourself, working on the way how you are getting a more happy version of yourself, sharing honestly how you feel with other people and opening up, uh, generally being interested in other people and trying to leave the conversation, even if it's just for a few minutes or 1 minute, to be more high energetically. I hope that these small tips will help you to make other people more happy regularly on everyday basis. But the most important is, if you are happy, then they will also be more happy. Okay, cool. So thank you, Leonid. I hope this answered your question. And I will be finishing this webinar. And hopefully we'll see each other soon. I'll be posting about next webinars or next posts on Facebook and Instagram. So everyone who's watching this, thank you again, guys. And see you around.